Hello, friends. We will continue with this fantastic book. Once again, every week we are back with this biology of plants. Now we are in the chapter number 3, the plant cell and the cell cycle, and in the paragraph chloroplast and other plastids. The idea is to read around 5 to 10 minutes, and if I have some question on how to pronounce, then I check with this translator, Google Translator, in order to learn how to do it. Let's continue. The plant cell and the cell cycle is something that we start, let's say, by my own last week, and now we just continue in the page number 45. Together with vacuoles and cell walls, plastids are characteristic components of plant cells, and they are concerned with such processes as photosynthesis and storage. The principal types of plastids are chloroplasts, chromoplasts, and leucoplasts. Each plastid is surrounded by an envelope consisting of two membranes. Internally, the plastid is differentiated into a membrane system consisting of flattened sacs called thylakoids and a more or less homogeneous matrix called the stroma. The number of thylakoids present varies among plastid types. Now, new chapter. Chloroplasts are the sites of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis or photosynthesis. Let's check this. Photosynthesis.
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 Photosynthesis. So, chloroplasts are the sites of photosynthesis. Mature plastids are commonly classified in part on the basis of the kinds of pigments they contained. Chloroplasts, the sites of photosynthesis, contain chlorophylls and carotenoid pigments. The chlorophyll pigments are responsible for the green color of these plastids. The carotenoids are yellow and orange pigments that, in green leaves, are masked by more numerous chlorophyll pigments. Chloroplasts are found in plants and green algae. In plants, they are usually this shape and measure between 4 and 6 micrometers in diameter. A single mesophyll, middle of the leaf cell, may contain 40 to 50 chloroplasts. A square millimeter of leaf contains some 500,000. You see? Only 1 square millimeter of leaf contains 500,000 chloroplasts. The chloroplasts are usually found with their broad surfaces parallel to the cell wall. Figures, they can reorient in the cell under the influence of light. So these chloroplasts can reorient by themselves in the cell under the influence of light. The internal structure of the chloroplast is complex. The stroma is traversed by an elaborate system of thylakoids. The thylakoids are believed to constitute a single interconnected system. Chloroplasts are generally characterized by the presence of grana, singular granum, stacks of this like. Let's continue in the next page. Thylakoids that reassemble a stack of coins. The thylakoids of the various grana, the grana thylakoids, are interconnected by the thylakoids that traverse the stroma. The stroma thylakoids, chlorophylls, and carotenoid pigments are found embedded in the embedded. How is this pronounced? Let's check. Embedded. Incorporado.
Embedded.
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 Embedded. Embedded. So are found embedded in the thylakoid membranes. The chloroplast of green algae and plants often contains starch grains and small lipid oil droplets coated with proteins. The starch grains are temporarily storage products and accumulate only when the algae or plant is actively photosynthesizing. Starch grains may be lacking in the chloroplast of plants that have been kept in the dark for as little as 24 hours because the starch has been broken down to sugar to supply carbon and energy to plants of the plant that are unable to photosynthesize. The starch grains often reappear after the plant has been in the light for only 3 or 4 hours. Chloroplasts are semi-autonomous organelles, that is, they contain the components necessary for the synthesis of some, but not all, of their own polypeptides. Chloroplasts resemble bacteria in several ways. For example, like bacterial DNA, the chloroplast DNA occurs in nucleoids, which are clear, grain-free regions containing DNA. However, unlike bacteria, with a single DNA molecules each, chloroplasts have multiple DNA copies. Further similarities are that the DNA of chloroplast, like that of bacteria, is not associated with histones, and the ribosomes of both bacteria and plastids are about two-thirds the size of the eukaryotic cells' cytoplasmic ribosomes, and both bacteria and chloroplasts replicate by binary fission. The formation of chloroplasts and the pigments associated with them involves contributions from both nuclear and plastid DNA. Overall control, however, really resides in the nucleus. Although some chloroplast proteins are synthesized within the chloroplast itself, within the chloroplast itself, most of these proteins are encoded by nuclear DNA, synthesized in the cytosol and then imported into the chloroplast. Chloroplasts, the workhorses of the plant world, are the ultimate source of virtually all of our food supplies, and our fuel. Chloroplasts are not only the site of photosynthesis, during which light, energy, and carbon dioxide are used to form carbohydrates, but they are also involved in the synthesis of amino acids, fatty acids, and a number of secondary metabolites. And as we have noted, chloroplasts provide space for the temporary storage of starch. Starch, what does it mean, starch? Let's check this. Starch, almidón.
Starch.
Starch. So, no, new paragraph. Chromoplast contain pigments other than chlorophyll. Chromoplast, that comes from chroma, from Greek, from Greek language, that means color. Like chloroplast, are also pigmented plastids. Of variable shape, chromoplasts lack chlorophyll but synthesize and retain carotenoid pigments. So they have no chlorophyll but synthesize and retain carotenoid pigments, which are often responsible for the yellow, orange, or red colors of many flowers, aging, for example, the carrots, aging leaves, some fruits, and some roots, such as carrot. Okay. Chromoplasts may develop from previously existing green chloroplasts by a transformation in which the chlorophyll and internal membrane structure of the chloroplast disappear and meshes from carotenoids accumulate, as occurs during the ripening of many fruits, tomatoes and chili peppers, for example. The precise functions of chromoplasts are not well understood, although at times they act as attractants to insects and other animals, with which they have co-evolved, playing an essential role in the cross-pollination of flowering plants and the dispersal of fruits and seeds. And now, in the last paragraph, before ending this streaming, this program for today, is the leucoplasts are non-pigmented plastids. So leucoplasts. Structurally, the least differentiated of mature plastids, leucoplasts, lack pigments and an elaborate system of inner membranes. Some leucoplasts, known as amyloplasts, synthesize starch, el almidón, whereas others are thought to be capable of forming a variety of substances, including oils and proteins. Okay, I love this. I love this chapter. So I'm going to end until mitochondria. That is the next paragraph, important paragraph. Now, the last part is proplastids are the precursors of other plastids. Proplastids are small, colorless, or pale green, undifferentiated plastids that occur in meristematic cells of roots. Meristematic means dividing cells of roots and shoots. They are precursors of the other, more highly differentiated plastids such as chloroplasts, chromoplasts, or leucoplasts. If the development of a proplastid into a more highly differentiated form is arrested by the absence of light, it may form one or more prolamellar bodies, which are semicrystalline, semicrystalline, or semicrystalline? Crystalline, semicrystalline. Let's check this. Semicrystalline. Semicrystalline.
Semicrystalline. Semicrystalline.
Semicrystalline. You see, are semicrystalline bodies composed of tubular membranes. Plastids containing prolamellar bodies are called etioplasts. Etioplasts form in leaf cells of plants grown in the dark. When exposed to light, the etioplast develop into chloroplast, and the membranes of the prolamellar bodies developed into thylakoids. In nature, the proplastids in the embryos of seeds first developed into ethioplast, and then, upon exposure to light, the ethioplast developed into chloroplast. The various kinds of plastids are remarkable for the relative ease with which they can change from one type to another. These highly flexible organelles, the plastids, which are responsible to the environment and highly adaptable to many purposes, allow the plant to economize in terms of energy. Plastids reproduce by fission, the process of dividing into equal halves, which is characteristic of bacteria. In meristematic cells, the division of proplastids roughly keeps pace with cell division. In mature cells, however, most plastids are derived from the division of mature plastids. Okay, and now we finish for today. I think it was a very good experience, at least for me, because I have, let's say, progress in this magnificent book. And the idea is to practice every week a little English with you, just learning some pronunciation, also learning myself for sure, and also some meaning of words, because it's very specific vocabulary. It's talking about biology of plants, very, very deep in detail. So let's have a good Sunday today, a good weekend, and I hope you the best. And be in contact in the channel. Be pendant of the new, let's say, videos that I'm, let's say, putting all the time as far as I can. eh? So see you very soon. Give a like, subscribe to the channel, and see you very soon. Goodbye. Have a nice day.